How about this one?
That's a Deep Diver 100 pointer and Lucky Craft. And that's going to go down, she's going to go down 8 feet, 8 to 10 feet, especially if you give her a couple of good quick jerks and let it sit down underneath.
And how about now the line that you're using? You're using braided line on this?
Sometimes I use braided, sometimes I use mono on these. I'll use my bait casters, which has the mono on them. I prefer the mono on this because it gives me a little bit more pause. I'm at ease when I'm pausing it. You know, I can kind of sit there and it's more comfortable in my hand to sit there and just, you know, wait it out. You know, counting the 10 and then make it another 10.
Yeah, let's just talk a little bit about that while we're on the jerkbaits. As far as your pauses go, how do you determine that you're letting the fish tell you this, or you just start out with a 3 count, you know, a 5 count, or how do you do
I'll
it?
actually go through the count routine. You know, I'll let it sit there and I'll count it down, and I'll let it go to 5 and maybe give it a little twitch. You know, I'll go to 5 and give it a little twitch, and then I'll say, okay, let's take it to 10 seconds. You know, and I'll sit there at 10 seconds and wait it out and see what happens. You know, sometimes I've gone as long as sitting it out there 30, 40 seconds, as long as my patience will let me without giving it a little twitch, and maintaining a tight line on it also.
That's the hard part. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. You always wanted, when you jerked it, you still wanted to have a tight line on that?
Yes, reel up until you see the slack come out of your line, the bow or anything like that. Because you want to be able to, especially in this cold water like this, the smallmouth tend to rise up behind it, and they're just sitting there looking at it, and they're like, oh, what's that? You know, and you give it a little tiny twitch, or it gives a little wiggle shake, and he'll come up and he'll just kind of suck on it, and you got to be able to see that line move or be able to feel that, you know.
Yeah, like I said, even though there's 6 hooks on this thing, they still.
It's amazing how they get off, how they can hit that bait and get off, or even when you get them hooked, how do they get off of that?
Now, I've noticed that in the springtime, like on the Delaware River, not so much here because I don't fish this much in the spring, but they'll slap at it. They'll just come up and just slap at it. A lot of times you'll get them right on the
side of the mouth. Sometimes it was like my one partner, he always says, I can tell when he's looking at it. He comes up and he used to say, see that? He's looking at it. And boom, he's got him. And he'll come up and it'll be on the side of his jaw. See that? He was just looking at it. I told you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they just slap at it. But that's why those hooks are so sharp that they can hold into them. Okay, we did the jerkbait thing, got some fish on the jerkbait, but then you decided to go to the tubes. And obviously, for that, we always tie on your favorite, and now my favorite, the hair jig.
The black hair jig, sure.
Why do you think that works so well in this kind of water?
You know, where do they think it is? I don't know. Do they think it's a leech? I don't, you know, leech you don't, you know, think of the wintertime.
Right.
Or I'm thinking it's some type of terrestrial. You know, they think it's some kind of bug. You know, some type of Dobson fly larva or something along that line.
Because this was very productive.
Yes.
Last time we were out, and also today it was
it worked today too.
Yeah. Now again, you just you tie your own now.
Yes.
Because it's just
the cost.
Yeah, it's just the cost of these things.
Yeah.
Because you know the old adage is, if you're not losing them, you ain't fishing them.
You got to be down on the rocks.
Yeah.
You got to be, you know, I'm only lifting it up 6-8 inches off the bottom and letting the current and the weight take it back down. I see it hit the bottom, my line goes slack, I let it sit there for a second, lift it up, and just let it fall. And as it's falling down, you'll get the tick. That's just what it was.
And then sometimes what you also put on like a little trailer on this too.
Yeah, sometimes I'll put on a piece of, I'll put a plastic leech trailer on it.
Just give it a little bit more bulk.
Yeah, something different. You know,
all right, now we want to go to the tubes here. And this is the one we fished today. And it's a great color. It's what, chartreuse and
smoke color.
Smoke color.
Smoke pepper. It's a smoke chartreuse pepper laminate is what it's called.
Now, who makes this one?
This is a right bite type.
Right bite?
Yes, 3.5 inch right bite.
And you rig it with what weight?
We're using quarter ounce out here with the flows we had today.
The quarter ounce. But you could drop down too, though, right? 16ths,
yes.
8ths?
Depending on the flow or the wind. You know, the wind has a lot to do with it.
Okay, now working this bait in this type of cold weather, what's the bite like?
Very mushy. The hits we had today on it, whereas I felt like I was stuck on a rock. You know, all I did was like, oh, is that a rock? And I don't know if that's a rock, and set the hook, and sure enough, it was a fish.
Yeah, sometimes, I know you do, you feel that, sometimes you think it's almost a leaf or something.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like a leaf.
It takes off. Now, do you throw this on monofilament, or do you use
I'm using this on my fire line, on my braided fire line.
And you like that because of the sensitivity of this?
That's the main reason. No stretch, no give. and it gives me a direct line right to the lure, to the tube. This way I can tell if it's, I think I can tell if it's a leaf or a twig, or it always turns out to be a fish.
This color here, do you use this year-round, or is this just a cold water bait?
I use that mainly when the water has a dingy color to it, a dingy green. You know, that's you know, almost to brown. That's one of my favorite colors.
So you'll use this if it's stained.
Yes,
stained wood.
right.
Okay. Now I know this bait here, another tube, is quite popular out here on the Susquehanna. Which bait's this now?
That's a Mismo Big Boy. That's a green pumpkin with a purple tail.
Now, how about what time of season do you use this? Spring?
Spring. That's an all year. That's a spring, summer, fall. You know, that's an all around one of my go-tos. Got to have that color in. If you ever caught a crayfish in the Susquehanna, you got to see the different colors that they have on them. You know, and that's what I would assume they're kind of representing.
Yeah, because I know I fished this a number of times and had quite good success out here on these these baits. Again, same type of weight situation, quarter ounce.
Quarter ounce. Only because we're fishing up in the deeper water. You know, the higher flows, a little bit higher flow, a little bit deeper water. I usually use an 1/8 ounce.
Now, we got a spinnerbait here.
Right.
And you and I both love throwing spinnerbaits. And I mean, if I could throw them all year round, I would throw them all year round.
I try. You know, today, you know, it's 65 degrees out. We had 40-degree water. I was coming up on the east bank, and I was like, spinnerbait's calling me.
Right.
You know, I was like, you know, we didn't get anything on it, but I had to try.
Yeah.
I had to try.
Color and blade types. What do you like out here?
The willow leaf blade, double willow leaf blade is definitely what I like. I like the chartreuse or the gold colors and white colors.
Okay, now, obviously we're laughing because we did throw it today in cold water. But when do you pick up the spinnerbait on the Susquehanna and start throwing it in earnest in the spring?
I'm going to start throwing that as soon as ice is out.
Really?
As soon as I can get up on here and fish this.
So water temperature doesn't bother you that much in the springtime?
No, I'm looking, because the water temperature is rising. You know, it's not so much, this water temperature is rising, but it's not rising in earnest. You know, it's going to come on, the fish may take off, but it's going to get cold again. It is the second week in January, you know, we're not done yet. Springtime, you're going to have the longer daylight hours, the sun's going to be up longer, and that all has the play in it. You know, that has the trigger in it. You know,
this bait here works really good on the Delaware River too.
Yes.
I mean, that was our favorite thing. Now, do you like the gold and the silver combo, or do you like?
I use the gold and the silver combo here on this river more so than I do on the Delaware.
And on the Delaware, you use just.
I'm using the gold.
The gold.
I prefer gold. I'm a gold willow leaf spinnerbait. And unless it's muddy, then I'll go to the heavier Colorado blades or.
And quarter ounce or half?
You know, I let the water dictate that. Up the higher the water, I'll go all the way up to 3/4 ounce. And sometimes even this year we're talking about getting 1 ounce spinnerbaits. Just to get them down, to drop down. Oh, you're fishing a wall. You don't want you get it away from that current. You know, and those fish get up tight against the wall, especially on the Susquehanna. You want that spinnerbait to come down and come straight down the wall like this, and it'll actually helicopter down. And as it does, and then you pull it up, and you know, as that's falling down, they'll come up and they'll grab it just like that.
I know this is a good bait. Well, we've got some good things here on the Susquehanna. Remember this: you catch a lot of fish, and that's the tackle box. Finally, they turn on. Finally.
Hair jig.
You fooled me. Oh God, you fooled me. You slipped in the old
hair jig. I was like, you know what, I got to try something different here. Things just aren't happening as fast as we need them to.
Look how bright they are there. You're not that.
Yeah, he's absolutely beautiful fish.
Hey,
the black spots on them.
I want to thank you for taking me out here on a Susquehanna.
It's my pleasure.
Great day, beautiful weather. We got to enjoy it when it's mid-January.
You got to take advantage of it while it's there.
Any more information you want, go to our website, Delaware Valley Outdoors. You have fishing reports. You can ask questions about where we were and everything like that. And if you get a chance, come out here. If it gets warm again, come out here. Get a jet boat. Get a buddy who's got a jet boat. Come out here and enjoy some great fishing. Hey, I'm Bob Murray. I'll see you on the water. You slipped in the old hair jig, eh?